Do you think you know the truth about Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin? Rethink your assumptions because everything you believe to be true is about to change. What if I told you that Jim's greatest betrayal in life came from Chrissy, the person he trusted the most, rather than from his adversaries? Furthermore, this is not merely a small secret. It is so explosive that it has the potential to destroy everything they have created together. It's nearly impossible to imagine that Chrissy's secret existence is going to be brought to light as a result of Camron's family revealing one revelation after another, leaving Jim Jones standing there by himself, caught off guard and deceived. When the person you love and have complete faith in is concealing the most sinister secrets, what do? It's a full-fledged expose that is set to dispel the myth that we have all been sold. It is not gossip. And believe me, you're not even close to hearing the worst. The reality is more terrible, profound, and awful than anyone could have imagined. Imagine if I told you that the perfect relationship you've been watching on TV for more than 10 years was based on false information. What if the who supported Chrissy for so long, Jim Jones, is suddenly the victim of a treachery that might ruin not only his romantic life, but also his entire legacy? Goes beyond a simple scandal. A truth bomb is poised to detonate throughout Harlem and beyond. Camron, Jim's longtime collaborator and pal, has made shocking revelations. And in the middle of everything, prepare yourselves because Chrissy Lampkin is involved in a scandal so big that it could destroy everything Jim has worked for. You won't be able to look at Jim and Chrissy the same way after this. Expose the hard reality that nobody anticipated. All of us have marveled at the flawless photos, the public gatherings, and the hashtag couple goals moments. However, the situation behind the scenes is entirely different. Jim was unaware of the startling revelation made by Cameron's family. Yes, Cameron's family. We are discussing secrets so profound and sinister that they have the potential to destroy everything. Consider this. The woman who has supported Jim for years, Chrissy, has been leading two lives. Jim is now left to pick up the pieces once the truth has been revealed. For Jim and all of us who have followed their path, it serves as a harsh wake-up call. This is blatant, real-life betrayal at its worst. It is no longer some reality TV plot. How did it all unfold then? A man who has always been honest, Camron, just dropped the bombshell, drew aside the curtain to reveal the truth. At last, the truth about Chrissy's covert life has surfaced. She has been hiding behind a mask for years, pretending to be Jim's rock, but the reality is completely different. Jim's trust was immediately damaged by Chrissy's involvement in dubious activities, covert affairs, and business decisions, as revealed by Cameron's family. You can only conceal the truth for so long, as they say, and now it's public knowledge. They have been business partners, working together on numerous projects, forming joint enterprises, and creating an empire. However, Chrissy has been conducting her own covert business behind the scenes, taking advantage of her position to influence events. Insiders claim that Chrissy has engaged in dubious financial transactions that Jim was unaware of. Since Chrissy kept Jim in the dark about these covert transactions, Jim is now being held accountable for the losses and bad investments they caused. The worst thing? While Jim supported her and had complete faith in her, these dubious activities have jeopardized his entire empire. However, it goes beyond business. Personally, Chrissy has been living a secret life for many years. We're talking about ties with people Jim could never have imagined, those who may ruin him if given the chance, as well as covert interactions and excursions. The twist is this. Camron was well informed. Because they were loyal to Jim, his family remained silent despite knowing about the issue for a while. But now we know the truth. The world now knows the truth about Chrissy's duplicitous activities and treachery, and the guy who helped establish Jim's career has had enough. However, this goes beyond money and commerce. This is about loyalty and trust, two qualities Jim believed he had with Chrissy, and it goes beyond affairs. He now has to deal with the agonizing realization that everything he believed to be true about Chrissy was false, leaving him to pick up the broken pieces of a career on the verge of collapse. What is Camron doing now then? After all these years, why is he exposing Chrissy now? Has he finally had enough of Chrissy's shenanigans, which have caused Jim more pain than anyone could have predicted? Or is it personal, based on their past interactions? In all honesty, Camron has had enough of the falsehoods and will no longer allow Chrissy to get away with it. Since he revealed everything on social media, Chrissy's secrets are now public knowledge and cannot be undone. Jim is left holding the pieces as Chrissy engages in risky behavior. What was the extent of this betrayal, though? Is there something more sinister going on here? Or was it just business? We're only beginning to explore the possibilities. Is Chrissy concealing further secrets that Jim was unaware of? Everything is about to be ripped apart by the truth. When everything you believe to be safe suddenly falls apart, it always hurts, and Jim Jones is experiencing it right now. The most public, degrading means conceivable is being used to reveal Chrissy Lampkin's profound betrayal, the woman he believed to be his basis and whom he trusted. However, this is just the start. Nobody could have predicted the extent of the consequences from these revelations. The hip-hop tycoon Jim Jones is in danger of losing all he has worked so hard to build, his reputation, his career, and his empire, and Chrissy is solely to blame for it. The twist, though, is this. Chrissy isn't only interested in herself. Beyond monetary losses and covered affairs, Camron's family has been subtly exposing the depth of this treachery. A whole network, a huge web of dishonesty, is about to come apart. The world is now starting to piece together the details of the covert operation Chrissy was a part of. Let's dissect it. Chrissy was playing both sides, not simply pulling strings behind Jim's back. Jim's best friend, Camron, never had complete faith in Chrissy. His concerns persisted for years, although Jim was unaware of them. Let's face it, so was everybody else. Jim and Chrissy were enmeshed in the illusion of being the ultimate power couple. But now, piece by piece, everything is falling apart. This is when things become complicated. In addition to being personal, Chrissy's falsehoods were also economical. No one could have predicted the scope of the schemes she was involved in. In addition to hurting Jim, Camron's family has revealed shocking information about dubious business practices that broke his confidence in ways that are nearly unfathomable. As the gatekeeper, Chrissy kept Jim in the dark about important financial issues that ought to have been discussed. Jim is currently dealing with the fallout from her covert tactics. For those who are unaware, Jim was unaware that Chrissy was responsible for a number of dubious investments made in his name. Jim was left holding the bag when the debts came due, whether it was from dubious real estate transactions or companies that embezzled money. Jim trusted Chrissy with everything, according to people familiar with the matter, and she fully exploited that confidence. Here's the worst part, though. Wasn't Chrissy meant to be Jim's faithful companion? Rather, she was negotiating behind his back with some of his most formidable adversaries, playing both sides. Consider this. Chrissy has engaged in covert activities with individuals who have consistently sought to discredit Jim. Jim's entire enterprise is now at stake due to her activities. This is personal. It's not just business. Jim must now attempt to clean up the mess, but the harm has already been done. The public outcry is only beginning. Fans and celebrities are responding to the news as it goes viral, and their thoughts are all over the place. Chrissy is being referred to by some as a mastermind and by others as a villain. The most startling aspect, after this shocking discovery, Jim's own group is beginning to turn away from him since they are unsure of his allegiances. This is where it truly gets to you. Jim is now dealing with public repercussions in addition to personal betrayal. The world was unable to stop talking as the news began to emerge. You are aware that once the truth is out, it is impossible to go back. Jim must now face the consequences in the most brutal manner imaginable. Jim Jones is dealing not only with the personal betrayal, but also with the impending demise of his entire enterprise as he deals with the aftermath of Chrissy Lampkin's betrayal. Longtime friend and ally Camron is now burdened with guilt for failing to anticipate it sooner. Camron had been warning Jim about Chrissy for years, but Jim was too emotional to see through it. He never thought the woman he had such a deep confidence in could be responsible for such a destructive plot. However, Camron is now unable to remain silent. You are forced to speak up when your friend's predicament jeopardizes everything you have worked so hard to achieve. Jim's legal troubles are imminent. Chrissy is extremely likely to be sued or maybe the subject of federal investigations because of the dubious transactions he was involved in. Jim might be responsible for those obligations if it is established that she tricked him into making false investments. Jim's financial future is in jeopardy, and the situation is dire. The public backlash has been harsh in the meanwhile. Once adoring fans of Jim and Chrissy are now doubting everything. What caused them to be so blind? In reality, it was all a ruse for Chrissy. So how could they have been tricked into thinking the love narrative they were given was genuine? Jim's once loyal fan following is turning against him as the news goes viral, and his reputation is being tarnished. Hard questions are being raised by the public. Who was Jim actually working with for all these years? Camron's family has shockingly made recordings of some of Chrissy's most dishonest behavior public. These tapes are sensational because they reveal Chrissy candidly talking about tampering with Jim's reputation and attempting to ruin his career by linking him to dubious people. The media maelstrom is intensifying as a result of these discoveries, which have only increased the fury. With social media exploding with emotions, Jim and Chrissy are trending for all the wrong reasons. Jim, you've been played, and Chrissy's been nothing but manipulative, are among the comments made by fans. Jim is worthy of better. However, this narrative has a darker side, as some are wondering how much of Jim's career was actually based on lies. Was Chrissy preventing him from succeeding all along, or did she have an impact on it? There is a lot of conjecture, and every new leak complicates the situation. Public outrage, financial loss, and legal action are only the first steps. It's still unclear if Jim can make it through or if his empire is irreparable. Even more startling information is coming to light as the inquiry into Chrissy's activities continues. Confidential recordings and other documents have come to light, demonstrating that Chrissy's manipulations went beyond financial gain. From the beginning, she had planned to dictate Jim's future. According to sources, Chrissy was playing a long game to gain control of his empire rather than only pursuing his fortune. Behind Jim's back, she struck agreements with others who were utilizing him as a pawn. This betrayal was not merely personal. It was part of a larger scheme to permanently destroy Jim. Jim is up against the battle of his life as the legal disputes intensify. He could face criminal prosecution because of the overwhelming evidence against him. Chrissy might face severe repercussions if she is proven guilty of financial wrongdoing. This is the kind of controversy that can destroy lives, not just a setback to one's career. With supporters and detractors contributing from all angles, the media frenzy is only getting worse. While some are demanding that Jim receive justice, others are wondering how someone so influential could have been so easily duped. But what about Chrissy? The questions don't end there. What will she do next? Chrissy's reasons were far more complicated than anyone had thought, and is becoming increasingly evident with each new piece that is revealed. She pretended to be Jim's faithful companion while engaging in dubious transactions with deadly underworld people. Industry sources worry that the damage could be irreparable as Jim's business teeters on the brink of collapse. Jim's future is uncertain due to potential criminal accusations and financial irresponsibility. The saddest aspect, Chrissy betrayed Jim at the worst possible time after he trusted her with everything: his future, his business, and his emotions. Jim has now pulled back as the heat mounts, his legal team in an attempt to save his remaining career. However much he tries, the harm is too great. Even the best warriors have periods when they question their ability to prevail. But Jim has always been a fighter. Is Jim Jones as we know him coming to an end? Chrissy has gone into hiding in the interim, but the entire scope of her behavior will eventually be revealed. Despite her best efforts to fabricate the story, the reality is indisputable, and her reputation is in ruins. Camron's family is now demanding a thorough investigation after playing a key role in revealing Chrissy's wrongdoings. They will not stop until every truth is revealed because they want justice for Jim. There will undoubtedly be more shocking revelations, and the legal battle is far from done. The entire world is keeping a careful eye on this story, anticipating its next turn. Will Chrissy's web of deceit and manipulation bring Jim to ruin, or will he rise from the ashes? The plot is still developing, so it's impossible to predict where it will go. However, there is little doubt that this matter is far from being resolved. Is Chrissy's treachery the last straw for Jim, or will he be able to turn his life and career around? The road ahead is unpredictable, and the truth is out there. However, we would like to hear from you. Do you believe Jim can get through this situation, or is his empire doomed? Do you believe Chrissy is genuinely guilty, or is there a larger scheme at work? Join the discussion by leaving a comment below. To keep up with all the newest happenings in this thrilling drama, hit the bell and subscribe buttons. What comes next is something you won't want to miss.